Cyborg 86. Today we're going to recap this little X43 build. In prior videos I showed you how I wanted to put this body on. We tore it all down and put in new electronics, built us a new chassis and put it all together. Then we took it out to the rocks to see how it would do compared to the original. Today we're going to go over the changes I've made, what I've learned, and what I would do different. First, let's take a quick look at the specs. Let's go ahead and weigh out the original, 98 grams. And how about the modified version? 54 grams, fully loaded and ready to run. Let's also do a rough estimate of the forward bias. Looks like 50 grams on the front and 48 in the back, 47. For the modified version, we got 26 grams up front. And in the back, we got 28. So move the bias back slightly. Let's also take a look at them side by side here on an incline. My fancy test device is a piece of sandpaper sitting on my iPad. Does the job. And let's take a look at the side hill now. One more time from the other side. It's not like we're building a comp machine here or anything, but it is fun to see if we can make improvements. From the side here, you can see that the profile is much lower. Since my last update video, I've modified the chassis to put these taller shock towers on. That allowed me to slam the body down just a little bit more. Mainly after looks with that. And I'm still using a magnet to mount it. I was hoping that the shock towers would help hold the front on, but it's not doing the job. I do have these cutouts in the body, and that makes it fit around the shock towers. I also printed some colors there in the headlights and in the hood scoop. Really like the look of that. I also modified the rear of the chassis to build the body mounts into it instead of attaching them with screws later. I also have these little side mounts to hold the electronics or battery on both sides. The shock mounts are just a little bit too far forward, so in the next iteration I'll slide the mounts back just a little bit. But there's still lots of clearance for the servo, and that's what I was after. I think in a future version I would slide this part of the chassis further forward and make it go straight up, and then that cross piece in there would give more room to put a battery right in front of the gearbox. But I'd also have to cut out that shaft that's in the middle there. And while there is plenty of room for that servo, my suspension travel just seems limited a little bit in the front. I think I got some binding, and part of that is because I lost a little brass unit. I don't have it in there anyway. And so the front suspension just doesn't travel as loosely as the back. So got some work to do there. As long as it's fun, I'll keep working on this thing. I did direct solder the servo wire to the receiver. This is the CR1400M that I modified, and that left me a little short. Here in the back I did use a motor connector. These are computer pins that you just break off and pick the number of pins that you want. So in the future I think I'll do that. This gear sticks up a little higher than the top of the gearbox and could cause me some trouble, so in the future I may go ahead and make a little cover for it. I'd really like to switch this battery and the speed controller. They're just in the wrong spot for proper weight distribution, but my wiring changes left me not enough room to do that. And I'm looking around for a spot to maybe put in a little tungsten putty. Not a lot of room up here. Maybe down here right under the bottom of the axle just behind. Not a big deal, just like looking for ways to improve this thing. These are the only options for rims that I know of for this scale. Might decide to print some up. Maybe I can put a little putty inside there. Who knows? Don't know if there's much I can do to stretch this thing. I think the limiting factor is that drive shaft. I do have a cover for this gear, but I forgot to put it on. The tiny little ESC here on the side is a disappointment, but for $4 it's not too big of a disappointment. It just doesn't have the kick or the low speed control that the original does. In a prior video, I showed you a short clip of it running with a brushless motor in it. It was a 30-to-1 ratio. Since then, I've got this 100-to-1 ratio. I'm thinking that's going to work a lot better, because that 30-to-1 was just crazy fast. I had used this brushless ESC that I assembled, and it was very small to start with, but once you get everything on there, it was too big for this tiny little body. But I found something since that makes me think maybe I can put brushless on this model. Check this thing out. Super small. I'm going to have to be careful with my soldering skills. I'll assemble this thing and test it on the bench, and then decide if it'll fit in this model or if it'll go on something else. But either way, one of these things is getting brushless. I had a smaller battery on hand. I think it's 100 milliamp. This one here is the original, around 200, I think, something like that. Can't really read the writing. Anyway, I used the smaller one for now, ran it several minutes, and had plenty of power. I'd really like to add a little more travel to this thing too, because the shocks on there don't have a ton of travel. And I thought I might use one of these pins out of this servo. Looks like it would do the job. We'll have to design some mounts around it and come up with a spring or run it with no spring. But anyway, I think that might be an option. I think any scale can be fun, even the small ones, as long as you got the right place to crawl it. This one I can take out on the rocks, down by the lake. I can also drive it on my workbench, create some obstacles there. Well, I hope you found this interesting. Appreciate your watching. If you're interested in this and other projects, maybe give a like and subscribe. And happy crawling. Fancy shoes, and everybody saying y'all